New episode of the podcast. Brandon called me on it yesterday, but I'm going to keep saying it because he said every episode's a new episode. He was right. So it's got to start like that, just so you know you're not listening to a rerun. Unless you're listening to a rerun, at which point then I lied to you right there. Okay, it is a Friday edition of the podcast. Now, I'm telling you, I'm just going to be very open. As I move my microphone into my face, I'm going to be very open and honest with everyone. I'm recording this on Thursday night. So if anything breaks Friday morning, I'm going to miss it. I'm going to miss the excitement. If Dogecoin or whatever it is goes through the roof, one of my buddies got in at Dogecoin. Let me finish that statement. One of my least favorite things people do, and something that I struggle with, finish your sentences. Finish your sentences. If Dogecoin, I believe is what it's called, goes through the roof, I will have missed it and I will be jealous. Period. One of my buddies got in on Dogecoin apparently. Apparently he got, let me make sure I got this right. I'm looking at my phone real quick. He got 3,000 Dogecoin at 0.0053. I don't know what that means, but I guess it's up to like 8 cents. So he got it at half a penny, or maybe, I think he got it at half a penny and it's up to 8 cents. So he's feeling pretty good about things right now. I don't know what Dogecoin is, but like I said, if this pops off on Friday, I'm going to miss it. All of it. It's the end of the week. I'm going to clear out my notes from the week, things I wanted to get to. Friday, we're going to clear it out. We're going to make sure that next week my podcast prep sheet starts fresh. First of all, second of all, because first of all was Dogecoin. Second of all, thank you to everyone who supported the podcast this week. Whether it was the nice comments on Twitter at Sean T. Widmer, some comments on Instagram at Sean T. Widmer, and then some people left some reviews on iTunes, which is huge. The goal is to get to 100. We're over halfway to 100. The goal is to get to 100 reviews on iTunes, and some people did that this week, and that meant so much to me, so thank you for that. And the few people who went over to the YouTube page, I'm tweeting out the YouTube page, putting it on my Facebook, and just kind of putting the link for YouTube so you can watch the video if you want, if you like that way. That's kind of cool. And so to the few people who have supported that this week, that's been kind of a fun experiment with podcasts. So thank yous first and foremost. Okay, let's do it. Let's clear out the things I have. First thing I had written down is new, because today something big came out. Today at 9:28, I think, is when I saw it. Disney Plus puts out a trailer. And I'm like, okay, Disney Plus. We have Disney Plus here at the Widmer house. I got it for Mandalorian, and then we kept it for Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. My daughter loves Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. She could care less about the show, or she could not care less about the show. The show means nothing to her. She doesn't give two rats behinds if Mickey Mouse is trying to solve where's Goofy's shoe, or did Donald lose his flower over the hill. Like, she doesn't care about that. But if the music comes on, she's all about the music. So she plays and plays and plays. The second the music starts on Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, she goes bonkers, and we get down with some killer dance moves here at the Widmer house. So that's why we kept Disney Plus. And then we kept it through this time, through winter, or through summer, last year. Mandalorian came back out. I was like, man, I love this show. So we kept it during winter. And now we've kept it because my daughter truly loves the music in Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Well, today, Disney Plus reveals their new show that's coming out in March. Mighty Ducks. Mighty Ducks has a show coming out, the Mighty Ducks Game Changers. And I'm going to tell you, I started watching the trailer for it, okay? I started watching the trailer, and I was like, this is cool. This is going to be great for a younger generation who missed Mighty Ducks, because I grew up in the 90s. We'll get into my love of Mighty Ducks here in a second, but I grew up in the 90s loving Mighty Ducks. And I saw this and thought, okay, well, kids who have Disney Plus, they're going to get to see a show. Disney's been doing great with their shows. All these streaming services have been doing really great with their content. And so I got excited. And then 29 seconds in, I realized, oh, wait, this is for me. This Mighty Ducks Game Changer show is not for my nephew Grayson. I mean, it is. It's not for my niece Addison. It is. But at the 29-second mark, when this lady goes, we're going to need to find a rink. We need to find a place to skate, to practice. And they show a Zamboni. And out of the smoke and coming out from behind the Zamboni is Coach Gordon Bombay. The actual Coach Gordon Bombay, a chubbier, rounder, older, still attractive, probably still good at hockey, Coach Gordon Bombay. And he says something like, you kids need ice? You kids need some ice to skate on? Whatever. I don't care what he said. When he said it, I teared up because everything from 1995 came flooding back to me, or whatever year Mighty Ducks was, 90, 93, 94, 95, whenever it was. All of the memories of begging my parents for rollerblades, begging them for rollerblades, making our own hockey sticks out of wood, making up goals, and becoming great rollerbladers simply based on a movie that we loved. My best bud, Kenny Beefus, and I, we just went through our rollerblades. I remember needing new wheels, begging my parents for new wheels because I had gone through my wheels. The sides, the plastic on my rollerblades on the sides was just worn out because of how much we played roller hockey because of Mighty Ducks. And I saw Gordon Bombay today and thought, I'm in. It's a kid's show. It's a total kid's show. It's going to be so goofy and dumb and just made for children, but they're going to have Gordon Bombay on it, and I will at least give it a little bit of a try. That was what I saw today, and I was pretty hyped on it. Mighty Ducks Game Changers. If you ever watched Mighty Ducks as a kid and liked it, you have to watch at least the 1 minute trailer, 29-second mark, Gordon Bombay. Oh, it hit me. It hit me right there in the feels. Okay, the other thing, let's continue on the notes I had for the week, things we didn't get to. Earlier this week, Monday, in fact, Coca-Cola released Coke with coffee. And I wanted to try it for the morning show. I actually don't remember if I've talked about this on the podcast here this week, but I did try it. I might have talked about this already. Yeah, maybe we are in reruns. I found some at the grocery store down the street. I found Coke with coffee, vanilla flavored. It is awful. Okay, I had that written down. Grape nuts. This is another thing. Again, we're just cleaning up my notes so that next week I start with a clean slate of show prep with Anna on the show Monday morning, excuse me. Grape nuts is having a nationwide shortage. Saw this story this week. Grape nuts. The funny part was the reason why. I thought, what they run out of? Did they run out of? I mean, I don't know what grape nuts are made out of. Cement? Did they run out of cement? Did they run out of really, 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 really old grapes that have petrified? I don't know what a grape nut is, but Grape Nuts brand manager Kristen Durock, which is such an interesting name. The Grape Nuts brand manager name, Kristen Durock, the hardest cereal known to man. Their brand manager, last name Durock, very fitting. I beat that over the head, maybe a little too much. Reported, she said the cereal is made using a proprietary technology. This is a hard story for me. This is why I didn't get to it earlier in the week. A proprietary technology and a production process that isn't easily replicated. Well, I should hope not. I should hope that all of the cereals that I'm eating are not easily replicated because that's why I'm buying them. If I could just make Captain Crunch at home, I would. If I could just make Lucky Charms tonight downstairs in the kitchen and have Lucky Charms next week, I'd do that. Yeah, of course it's not easily replicated. That's why we buy it at the store, Kristen Durock. But an interesting reason to put that out there. I thought there would be a shortage in something. They're just saying, big words, proprietary technology, production process, no grape nuts. I want to get this out there because I don't know where everyone who's listening stands on their grape nuts. Grape nuts are really dang good. Grape nuts are a top-notch cereal. In fact, I think grape nuts are in my top 10. I don't have my top 10 thought out. Probably could have done that. This is why we didn't get to this segment earlier in the week. Lucky Charms are in my top 10. Captain Crunch are in my top 10. Grape Nuts are in my top 10. Kellogg's Pops are in my top 10. Honeycomb are in my top 10. Apple Jacks are in my top 10. Frosted Flakes are in my top 10. I had a couple others just that I was getting excited about. Fruity Pebbles are in my top 10. Crispix are in my top 10, probably number 1. Corn Chex are in my top 10, probably in the top 3. Cornflakes are in my top 10. and like 5 others. So those are like my top 10 cereals that I like. I just don't have them organized 10 to 1. But grape nuts are in there. And you're crazy if you don't like them, because grape nuts, you eat them the right way and they become an amazing adventure. Because that's really what they are. You dump them in the bowl, you dump the milk on top of them, you let them sit while you go find the sugar. You reach around in the cupboard, you find where mom has the sugar thing, you pull that off the shelf, and you just dump as much of it as you possibly can before someone comes in and sees you dumping sugar into your grape nuts. Dump as much as you can in. Then you go find a spoon. So that this kind of is still simmering a little bit. And then you stir it up, and you let it sit a little bit more. You maybe take that in front of the TV, slowly walk to the TV, turn the TV on, find that cartoon you want to watch, maybe pop on some YouTube, watch the Sean Widmer podcast, maybe watch something good like some NBA highlights. I don't know. But then you find that, and now you're in a good spot. Everything's kind of mixed in together well. The chemical properties are right, and you dive in. I've had an unfortunate time the last couple years because I've cut cereal out of my life. I'm not a healthy eater. Okay, I'm not a healthy eater at all. I wish I was. We try to eat pretty healthy here at the Widmer house, but man, I run into a hamburger a couple too many times a week. I can run into a mod pizza a couple too many times a week. It's just what happens. But I've cut out breakfasts over the last couple years. I don't need them. I don't need to eat breakfast every day because I eat a big breakfast. I eat cereal, and milk does poorly for me. I do bad with dairy. Dairy and I used to be great friends, and now, man, I have a bowl of cereal. My stomach feels it. That dairy gets me good, and I just don't feel right for a while. So I've cut cereal out. It's by far the number one food I miss. And yes, it's a food. It's on the big pyramid thing you used to have in elementary school. It's right near the tippity top. The other thing, let's see, what else do I have here? Weezer came out with a new album moments ago. From when the time I'm recording this, I listened to it one time through. Weezer's new album. They're my favorite band of all time. OK Human. It's good. It's good. It's not great. It's good. And I love Weezer, so I already knew I was going to love it. It's got some great songs on it, some great Weezer songs. It's got a bunch of really, hey, Rivers Cuomo was quarantined for the last year and sat around in a room in his house with his piano and just wrote some weird songs, which I enjoy. And then it had some bad songs on it. Well, the songs that I'm just not going to listen to again. Songs I'm going to fast forward or skip. Is it fast forward still? Is that still... If I go from track 1 to track 2, is that fast forward or is that skip? Does fast forward... Kids, does fast forward exist anymore? Good album, though. I'd recommend it. I love Weezer. OK Human is out right now. When you're listening to this, you could go listen. When you're listening to this podcast, you could be spending your time listening to Weezer instead. 2 other things I have written down here. The GameStop stuff. We talked about it on yesterday's podcast. Brandon and I got in on GameStop. Robinhood on Thursday, the app we use to trade stocks, went bananas. If you're not following this story, it's everywhere. Just type into the internet, and then whatever you go to, you'll see a story about the stock market. Just open up your homepage. Your homepage could be anything. I don't care what your homepage could be, hot or not. And there's going to be something on there about the stock market. So if you missed that story, go find it. You can listen to the podcast we did for Thursday. But I will tell you, the GameStop stuff has made me laugh because I am a former GameStop employee. 2 great years of my life. From 2000 to 2002, spent working at GameStop in Northtown Mall. It was GameStop's company. Our branch was called Babbage's. Our store was called Babbage's. Turned into GameStop, turned into closed. I love my time there, man. I loved it. And all these GameStop things, I hear all these stories about, GameStop, people buying GameStop stock. It just reminds me of the good days 20 years ago where I did not a care in the world. I'd go to work, sell video games, talk to people about video games, take a video game home, probably like I shouldn't, play it that night with my roommate Preston, bring it back the next day. You know, if people brought, that was one of the nice things of GameStop. If people brought in a game that was used, we would sell it as used. And at the time, we were allowed to, as employees, take 1 game a night home. And so we would take home Devil May Cry on PS2. And we would play Devil May Cry that night and try to play as much of it as we could, knowing the next day we had to bring it back. And if it sold, we weren't going to get to take it home 2 nights in a row. Anyways, GameStop's been making me think about all that, and I've just really enjoyed the memories on that. I said yesterday to Brandon, it's GameStop is failing. I felt bad because I felt a little harsh about that. Unfortunately, it is. As a gamer, I realize this. It's a bummer because that's a magical store. I really loved it. And I wish kids still had that place. They could go, interact with other humans, have that bond. The nice thing is, in 2021, being a gamer is so much different than what it was in 2000 when I worked at GameStop, where the people who shopped at GameStop were frowned upon by everyone else who walked around in the mall. Okay? The other people in the mall, they walked by GameStop and said, nerds, losers, oh, you're wasting your time, video game players. That's not like that anymore. But at the time when I worked there, it was pretty cool because it was a safe haven for a lot of people who needed maybe an outlet to talk to someone about something they were passionate about that a lot of people made fun of them for. And I loved that part of working at GameStop. The part I didn't like about working at GameStop was I really had a crush on all the Wet Seal girls, but I worked at GameStop, so I was a loser. And I was probably a loser. So there was that part too. And then finally, the last thing I have written down, and thanks for bearing with me on a Friday podcast of clearing up my notes from the week. There's a video going around on my cell phone right now of my good buddy. I'm going to give him his full name. I'm going to give him his Christian name, Joshua Cox. His wife filmed him in his house, holding an egg in his hand. He's got the egg in the palm of his hand. He takes his fingers and wraps it around the egg, and he cannot break it over the sink. And I have been having a mental dilemma about this because I don't believe it's real. What I believe I am watching is a video that I am supposed to take in through my eyeballs and in my head go, Coxie, you can't break an egg in your hand? Dude, I could do that easy. And then I go do it, and what happens is the egg shatters immediately and just makes a mess all over me, and there's egg everywhere, and the yolk's on me. And then I send the video like, thanks a lot. So I'm just sitting here contemplating it. How do I do this? Because I've got two choices. Well, I guess I have one choice because I'm not going to not break the egg. But I've got two different ways I can approach this. I can try to smash the thing in my hand and get egg all over the place. Or I can act like I'm trying to break this egg as hard as I can and not break it and then pass it on. It's a group thread, and Sarah, Josh's wife, was like, Sean, you need to try it. So maybe I try to break it and then I can't do it and pass it on to the next person in the group thread. Or maybe Josh goes, wow, maybe you really can't break it. And then he tries it again and shatters it and gets yolk all over him. So I'm dealing with this dilemma right now where when I'm done recording this, I've got to figure out if I'm going to break this egg in my hand or not. I can't imagine you can't break an egg by putting it in the palm of your hand, wrapping your fingers around it and squeezing. You can't dig your fingers into it. It's about the pressure between the palm of your hand and your fingers. I don't know. I don't know if I want to fall for this trick or not. Okay, that's it. That's way too long of a podcast. That's a 10-minute podcast that lasted 18 minutes. Thanks again to everyone who participated this week in the show. I love that. As we look back on this week, added video element to it. We did the 3 interviews this week. If you feel inclined as a listener to the podcast and we're trying to figure out how the podcast works, what it is. I say this a lot, but I do appreciate the feedback because I've got some good stuff this week. Hit me up on Twitter at Sean T. Widmer. Hit me up on Instagram, Sean T. Widmer, and I'd love to hear what you think about it. Thanks for listening. Have a great weekend. Talk to you with Anna, my wife, on Monday.